Hello, Kate here with Fly. I wanted to take a moment to show everyone how I access the Canada Flight Supplement pages and where the useful information on those pages are for Canadian drone pilots. So let's take a look at this resource that I'm sharing here, flightplan.com, fltplan.com, is a super helpful resource for accessing these pages. You do need to be a little bit cautious of what resource you're using to bring up the information because it is by subscription to Nav Canada that you can purchase these pages. Not everyone will provide them with that same kind of accurate, up-to-date subscription. So you do want to make sure that the data that you're accessing is valid because the books and the eCFS, what they publish, does get updated every 56 days. So it is really important to make sure that you are using up-to-date info because the information on here does change. But let's take a look at what one of those pages looks like. So we would go here to this airport FBO and airport info tab. And it brings up this page. You can search either by the airport ID if you know that one specifically, or you can type in the name of the city that is closest. So here we'll do Pitt Meadows, CYPK. And I'm picking this one because it is an airport. I'll show you how you know that. I'm pretty familiar with it because this is where I did lots of flying out of. But it also it has a tower, which will be important for a reason that you'll see in a moment. But it's not as busy and big as YVR or something like that would have multiple pages to the CFS. So you'll scroll down on this page. This gives you lots of information about the airport itself. And you'll scroll right down here to where you see Canada Flight Supplement, the CFS tab for CYPK. So right up here at the top, you can see that it is effective. It gives you the Zulu time on the 5th of September until the Zulu time on the 31st of October 2024. So we are good to go there, which is great. First off, you'll confirm that you've got the right location, Pitt Meadows, BC, CYPK. All good, all good. And then you get this beautiful airport diagram. And it gives you some information right off the bat within this. So on the top corner here, it tells you what the elevation above sea level this airport is. We're only 12 feet. This Fraser River is tidal for quite a ways further, so we're pretty close to sea level. It also tells you the height of the highest obstruction within the control zone. So the control zone is Class C, up to 3 nautical miles to 2,500 feet. And then you get a general idea of the layout of the runways. You've got windsocks that are indicated here, the lines coming out of them versus this one. This one means that it has lights. It's a lit windsock. You've got some other information on here, and I'm really just trying to focus in on what the relevant information is going to be for drone pilots. So I'm going to ignore a lot of the data that's available on here, but some things that are relevant would be understanding the runways. So here you've got parallel runways, 26 left and 26 right, and then they're reciprocals. And then there's also this north-south runway as well. You've also got a few helipads over here, and this indicates where the tower is. And if we scroll down, it gives you information, some reference information. So it gives you the long and lat, where the airport is relative to the city of that it shares the name with. So we're 1 nautical mile to the southwest of the city of Pitt Meadows, township of Pitt Meadows. Our variation, so 17 degrees east. Time in UTC. There again is our elevation. And then it tells you what Nav Canada publications this airport shows up on. So it shows up on a VTA, VNC, which is the A5004 version. It's also on a low chart, some other MIFAR relevant charts. So not super informative for drone pilots once we get to there, but the fact that it's on a VTA and a VNC is good to know, and which one of those it is. The operator of this airport is the Pitt Meadows Airport Society, and there's their phone number. And then you'll see this CERT. So CERT means that it is a certified aerodrome, aka an airport. The other option that you might see there is REG. So it could be a registered aerodrome. Both of those appear on CFS pages, but they do have different meanings. Registered aerodromes are not airports. Certified aerodromes are airports. So both aerodromes, but only if it's got a cert is it an airport. PF is public facilities. These are codes that you can find in the preamble pages of the CFS. Then there's customs information, not super relevant for drone pilots. Flight planning information, again, not super relevant for drone pilots. Services, not super relevant for drone pilots. Runway data, still not super relevant. There's nothing in here that is relevant that you couldn't get from the visual up here. Heli data, still not super relevant. Lighting, kind of relevant. If you have your ROCA, you can do something kind of cool here with the ARCAL lighting. So that's aircraft radio controlled aerodrome lighting. So you can turn the lights on and change which runway is lit up with a handheld radio. Not something you want to do if the lights are on when you get there, because it means somebody is using them. But if you wanted to turn the lights on with your radio, you can do that. And then there's the comm section, and this is where things get really relevant again. So here we have the frequencies to use for different services that are available. So you have ATIS, which is your weather. You can also call that, and there's a menu to dial through and listen and get that local weather reporting information. It just plays on a loop. Ground, probably won't need it, but the tower information is helpful. So you have your frequency there, so you could listen in on that and monitor what's going on around the area that you are operating in. And then this emerge only phone number is the phone number that is going to ring inside of the tower cab. So if you called that phone number between these hours, and this is in Zulu time, so it's like 7 a.m. to midnight, or till 11, it would ring the phone number inside of this tower right here. So you're talking to the actual air traffic controllers that are handling aircraft that are flying at this airport. But if you were nearby and had an emergency and needed to talk to someone to let them know that your drone was inadvertently in their airspace, then that's the right people to talk to. So great resource to know of in the event of a flyaway. If it was more of a vertical flyaway and you think, like, I'm not actually entering Pitt Meadows airspace, but I should probably let someone know that this is happening, you can access either the area control center if you have that information, or you can call this 1-866-WX brief phone number that's up here. And option 1 is to report an aviation emergency. So you would qualify for that. Outside of the tower hours, it's still 126.3 as the frequency, but you'll notice there's no phone number because there's nobody there to answer that phone anymore. Nav information, not super relevant to drone pilots, but this pro section is helpful. They do tend to just take all the vowels out of the words that are in here, so you do have to do a little bit of deciphering as you go through. But it's helpful to know right-hand circuits on which runways and what height they are so that you can make sure that you're steering clear of those areas, and understanding where those approach paths are going to be relative to those runways. And that fact that there is night operations happening. And then other info that could be handy, especially if you're operating close to the airport, is to know that there are coyotes in the vicinity of the runways, that there's quarry blasting, and industrial complex. Keep an eye out for those things. So these last few sections can be pretty relevant: comm, pro, and the cautions. Pro for procedures. So those are the sections that you're really going to want to pay attention to as a drone pilot. Between that, this other operator phone number, which people often confuse as the right phone number to call in an emergency. It's going to take you to an office that's open 9 to 5 in this situation. So if you call them on the weekend or you tell them that you've got a flyaway, they're not going to necessarily know to route you to the right people fast enough. So it's best if you just contact the tower directly yourself. These would be the folks that you would want to contact if you needed permission to operate on airport property, for example. In other situations, you might see that this operator is like the Township of Hope or something like that. So they are definitely not going to be the ones to contact in the event of an emergency, because they're like the people that handle everything else that a city does to function. So that is what you need to know about CFS pages and how to access them. Try it out for yourself. Let me know what you think. And if you have any questions about any of the information that is contained within a CFS page, I am happy to help answer those. We'll see you next time.